Hey guys, what's happening? So, the other day we cut up jerky meat and made teriyaki jerky for the brine, and then we smoked it, got it out of the package, burnt the crap out of some of it. Now, today we're gonna package it up. So, there's just super simple, couple things you need for this. You need your handy dandy scale again, and I have my scale. This is about a $70 scale from the web store online. You can buy a $10 scale from Walmart. It'll do basically the same thing, but if you're gonna do any amount, spend the money, buy a good scale. Anyway, this scale will weigh grams, ounces, pounds and ounces, and yeah. So I always set my scale for ounces. I grab a paper plate so my scale doesn't get all gnarly, put it on there. Then I need my bags. All my bags are, right now they're all pre-labeled. We're doing teriyaki, so I got a teriyaki label on that one. Got my gloves, and of course I've got my finished product. So I always take my product and kind of shake it up just a little bit. Some of that stuff on top gets a little bit of oxygen to it, and it crusts just a tiny bit. It doesn't affect the quality of the product or anything like that. It just that way I don't get like 4 or 5 pieces of one package that all have that crust on there. One other thing you're going to need, pardon the shaky, is one of these bad boys right here. Of course, y'all don't need nowhere near that big of a machine. That is a commercial grade vacuum packer. It's called a chamber sealer. The packages actually go inside of it, as opposed to a food saver type vacuum packer or the Weston type vacuum packer. Some of you may have those. Those are an external sealer. Those take a completely different type of bag. I don't know if you can see it or not, but this bag has, it's just solid plastic on both sides. The food saver type have solid plastic on one side and a mesh on the other, and that's so it can draw the air out of that bag without the bag being in a chamber. So, and I started with those food saver machines. They're wonderful. They are not meant for a commercial environment though. I burned up 3 of them in 2 years. And the bags are really expensive. When I first started, I was cutting my own bags, cutting them all to length and size and making all that stuff. And then I started buying bags. And this is a pint-sized bag. It's 6 inches by 10 inches. And for 100 of these guys, I was paying $33.28. And that was if I could find it on Amazon Prime and not have to pay for shipping. So do some math. All right, you Common Core folks, get out your board and start now. Okay, we're not going to wait for you though. That's 33.28 cents per bag. Okay, so I bought my first commercial sealer in 2011 and paid like $900 for it. Didn't know how I was going to afford to do it. I was scared. It was my first major expense, and I sat down and I did the math. So the sealer cost me $900. A quality food saver, the highest up on the chain I could get for a food saver was, I think it was $279 at Costco, and I averaged burning one of those up about every 9 months. So that cost on top of the bags. This bag right here, if I shop around, I could buy a case of them. That's 1,000 in a case, not 100, but 1,000 in a case for 26 bucks. I have to pay a little bit of shipping on that, so say $30. So now all of a sudden, my cost is 3 pennies, 3 cents a bag. So every time I put a bag in the machine, I save 30 cents. So I had to ask myself, how long does it take to pay for that machine in bag savings alone? Well, 30 cents a bag times 1,000 bags is $300, right? Is that right? 30 cents a bag times 10 bags is $3. Yeah, so times 1,000 bags is 300 bucks. So I got a package 3,000 bags I've paid for my machine. And I easily do 15,000 bags a year, something like that. So anyway, that's the differences between the vacuum packers, the non-chamber versus the chamber. If you're only doing, you know, a couple hundred packages a year and you're buying stuff from Costco and you want to package it up and save it in your freezer and make it last longer, by all means, go out to Cabela's or Costco, buy the Food Saver. The Weston is a really good brand too. Weston is kind of a step up from the Food Saver. Costs a little bit more. They're about 450 bucks. But if you're going to do anything on any large scale, or say you got a family of, you know, 10, 15 people hunting together, it's, you know, everybody pitches in 60, 70 bucks. Boom, you got your family vacuum packer. So, and they'll last a long time. Mine lasted 7 years. I had to do some fairly routine maintenance on it, change the oil, tighten everything up, stuff like that. And after 7 years, I sold it to a guy for 400 bucks. So I bought it, I used it for 7 years. I got 400 of my 900 back out of it. I did okay. So then I bought this new one. It's got 3 sealing bars on it. It cost me a lot of money, but it didn't even bother me because like I knew the time savings again. This time I'm not looking at bag savings, I was looking at time savings. Because in my old vacuum packer, I could do 1 bag at a time. Close the lid, 40 seconds. Okay, good, we're done. And I pull that bag out and I put another one in. Well, all that time I'm spent standing around because it only takes about 10 seconds to get a bag filled and ready to go in the sealer. So I get all my bags done up and then I'm standing waiting on the machine. This new machine, on these small bags, I can do 7 of them at a time. So every time I close the lid, I save. Common Core, whiteboard. You want me to wait for you? Okay, I'm just going to tell you because it's quicker this way. Every time I close the lid, I save 240 seconds, right? 60 seconds times 40, 240 seconds. How many minutes is that? 4 minutes, right? Every time I close the lid, I save 4 minutes. How much is my time worth? Well, I just paid myself roughly $20 an hour. It's a number I went with a long time ago, and it's not nowhere near enough. But I figured $20 an hour. So how many times? 4 minutes, right? Goes into an hour. How many times? 15 times, right? So I save a bunch of money. Okay, we're gonna quit getting technical about it, but that is my justification for spending the money on the bigger machine. Bigger machine is wonderful. I'm having a minor issue with it right now. I need to I don't know if it needs an oil change or what, but I get a strange code flashing on the front of it once in a while, and it's becoming more recurrent. One good thing about this is a VacMaster brand. VacMaster, all the parts are made in China, assembled in the United States. So when you call VacMaster Service Tech Center, you actually, a human being answers the phone and a human being tells you what's up with your machine. Super awesome to deal with those guys. So anyway, all right, so we're gonna glove up. Once again, remember we're using powder-free vinyl gloves. You can use vinyl or latex, whichever you want. Just don't use powdered gloves. I mean, you can use them if you're not, you know, worried about food handlers permits and all those laws and whatnot. But if you are in a production environment and you're going to have a chance of being inspected, the powdered gloves are not legit. So anyway, I start with making my bag a little more accessible. And this scale, if I have anything sitting on it when I turn it on, it automatically zeroes. waiting, waiting, waiting. You Common Core guys just about done with your math? Because we're gonna move on. Okay, good. So anyway, we are zeroed out, and I put 3 ounces in one of these bags. Sell it for $5. Once you've done this for a while, you can almost grab 3 ounces in one shot. I'm a little bit over, so I'll just take a little piece off, and boom, 3 ounces. So the one thing with the teriyaki is it's really messy. I try to keep one hand from touching the teriyaki, and then I just carefully open the bag so I don't get slime all over the bag, because it gets really super sticky and nasty. And I dump her in. I'm going to do that 6 more times, and then I'm going to put them in there, and I'll show you what happens when I do that. Okay guys, so here's the skinny. I got 7 bags ready to go into the old chamber sealer here. You don't need to wear gloves for this because everything's in the bag, but basically I just kind of try to flatten everything out a little bit in there. I used to get really super picky and anal about it and try to get them all perfect and whatnot, but this is time consuming enough process as it is. So anyway, just decently flat. And when I put them in with the this top edge. There's a sealing bar here, here, and here, and I just put the edge up against the sidewall to give it plenty of room to get a good seal across the top here. I'll show you what that looks like when it comes out. So anyway, all right, I got 7 of them in here. I'm ready to do some vacuum packing. Basically what this thing does is it evacuates all the air out of the chamber, seals the bag, rushes all the air back into the chamber, and collapses the bag. So it's gonna get noisy for a minute. And all you math guys, I'm sorry, but I was wrong. My jerky's only 30-second cycles, so you gotta erase your whiteboard and start over again. Anyway, here we go. Okay, that's the magic sound we're hoping for. As you notice, this lid automatically opens, and the bags are still a little warm. They stick to that top sealing bar a little bit, but as you can see, I have 7 perfectly sealed bags. This vacuum sealing, if you're freezing a bunch of meat or whatnot, if you're a hunter or you just go to Costco and buy large quantities of meat, you know that if you put it in a freezer bag, you put it in your freezer, in a month or 2, it's starting to get freezer burn. This vacuum packing, you can put it in your freezer and you're 6, 7, 8 months before you even begin to notice any difference whatsoever. So it's a wonderful way to preserve meat. You can marinate a steak in less than an hour in this thing. You know, if your steak marinade calls for overnight, put it in here, vacuum pack it, 45 minutes, you're ready to go on the grill. So it's also a great thing for that. Anyway, this thing's got a good seal right here across the top. Mine seals with 2 bars. It's got 2 sealing bars, so it's got a primary and a secondary. And I just take a quick look at every package, because every once in a while you'll get it'll fold over like that in there, and that is not a good seal. That seal's gonna break. So anyway, these all look really good, and these are packaged ready for sale. So that's the process from meat in the cryo pack to meat in the vacuum pack. So, all right, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.